instead of using people to further dance, I'm using dance to further people. And I have been for a really long time. And it's landed me at the White House. It's landed me in some really other awkward situations like that. Yeah, that was weird.
How do you use dance as a way to express? Like, how does that work?
The stage is a three-dimensional canvas. So the paint are the dancers moving in the space. Ego is the worst.
The worst.
I'm very clear about that in the studio. Ego it blocks flow, it blocks communication, it blocks the love for each other.
Yeah. So people who feel stuck, people who feel like literally no way out, what is your wisdom?
It was through creativity and listening to the wiring that I've been wired with.
Yeah.
And just believing that I was given that for a reason and get curious.
Hi, welcome to the Creative Artist Podcast. My name is Sharan. This is a podcast about talking about the creative artists, the journey creative people go through, understanding what that looks like, and why, most importantly, why you should create too. I'm connected with Future in Graphics here in Cleveland, Ohio, and I have a very special guest that I didn't know that I was going to have, and I'm super grateful for. Bill, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. This is hilarious.
So I'm just learning about who you are. So tell us who you are and why you call yourself a creative.
I'm definitely a creative. My name is Bill Wade. I'm the founder and executive artistic director of a professional contemporary dance company called Inlet Dance Theater across the hall from Future in Graphics. And I've been doing dance professionally for over 40 years.
Wow.
In Cleveland. I've had a really good run. When I was young, when I was my dancer's age in my company, I was trained by and danced for a lot of very now, famous world-class people. And the whole time I was like, back in the 80s when I was that age, these people were passionate, they were brilliant, and a lot of them were not warm, fuzzy people. Everything was very transactional. I watched and I became the poster child for one of the dance companies that I danced for. And I found the environment to be people were being used to further the dance agenda, whether that was the ego of a choreographer or the namesake of a company or to land a grant or, and I learned so much from these people. And I now that I'm, much older, I think that we need to flip it a little bit. When I was in the 90s, I was hired as an artist in residence at Cleveland School of the Arts.
Okay. And
I was going to do 2 weeks of master classes, and I fell in love with the kids. And I ended up there for 11 years.
Wow.
And I had an after-school program that became a all-male modern dance company that went on tour. These are like junior high and high school kids.
Wow.
But really, the kids taught me very, very quickly that obviously things are not a level playing field in America, such as that is. And without getting into politics at all, it's just the way, it's just what we've inherited. But now that we've inherited this thing, we have choices we can make.
Yes.
So I realized that the training that I got from the people that I worked for, top shelf, it really changed my life. I was a rough and tumble kid who had it hard growing up. And dance pulled me away from all of that stuff and put me on my own feet where I could create. Now, I did grow up drawing and painting and doing music and instrumental and vocal. And so my whole life has been creative. And when I got to college, undergrad, I saw American modern dance for the first time. And I had a very weird experience of recognizing the thing that I was supposed to be doing. And I realized that's a very rare thing that happens to people, but it was like something snapped over my head, and I was like, I'm supposed to be doing this. 3 years later, after 2 years of university and a year at Milwaukee Ballet, I ended up in Ohio, in Cleveland, dancing for a modern dance company, Alice Rubenstein's Footpath Dance Company. She was from New York. Brilliant woman, not a warm fuzzy at that time in her life. And then I ended up with these kids at Cleveland School of the Arts, and I just started watching kids quit the gangs they were in and go from straight D's and F's to getting A's and B's, and then getting scholarships for university.
Wow.
And send kids to Juilliard, and the whole thing.
Yeah.
It was just like, I was like, oh, I think I stumbled onto something with these kids. So I started my company. We're actually in our 25th anniversary season right now.
Congratulations.
Thanks. So it's landed me in some really other awkward situations like that. Yeah, that was weird. But it's going really, really well. And like today, I spent the whole day with my dancers in the studio creating, because we've landed a commission from 7 performing arts centers around the country to work on a project. And so we spent our day, working on creating.
That's exciting.
Working on that. It's 8 years ago, Playhouse Square commissioned me to create a show. Where they bust all the little kids into the theater.
Yeah.
So I've been involved in conversations globally with people from all over the world about like, how do we raise the bar of the quality of work that kids are bussed in to look at? This has been a passion of mine for over 20 years because of working with the kids at Cleveland School of the Arts, right? And I'm like, well, they deserve to see the best stuff. I don't care what neighborhood they come from.
Yeah.
Every human being on this planet dances. It doesn't matter where you're from.
Yes.
Everybody dances. And it's going to look different depending on the flavor of where you grew up, right?
Yeah.
So we got a commission. I found the book, What Do You Do With an Idea by Kobe Yamada. Illustrations by Mae Beeson. They're incredible. That show's been doing a national tour for 8 years. And it was just like that magic, everything came together.
Right.
And all of the performing arts centers where we were touring the show, we're talking to other performing arts centers, and that turned into this commission to do the second book in Kobe's series. So now we're working on What Do You Do With the Problem? Friday night here at the Pivot Center, we just had 60 people here watching a section that we're prototyping from the book. We read everybody the book. We had them do an art activity over at Cleveland Museum of Arts.
Very cool.
Community arts, because I wanted them to like tactile experience. Yeah. Bring those creations over, and we showed them what we're creating to this book that, we read it on the large screen. Got a whole lot of feedback, had posted notes all over the mirrors. And I'm sitting in the office just now gathering all of that data. Yeah. I really like human-centered design thinking, because you start a new project with the end user in mind. It comes from like corporate America and people making widgets or whatever. But when I learned this process in an executive program that I was scholarshiped into, I kind of realized this is really the creative process that the business world is finally like. So of course they've wrapped.
I didn't think
they've wrapped like fancy language around it, right? And I'm like, I'm not an idiot. I'm going to use their language. Seems to be working. And now I got a commission from 7 performing arts centers, and we snagged the top tier booking agency in America, Holden and Arts Associates, and they're selling the show. And we leave for a national tour with this brand new show that I have not even finished creating in September.
Wow!
So yeah, creating for a living that's my jam.
That totally is your jam. Mine too. I love it.
Yeah.
Wow. So, gosh, you said so much.
I'm sorry.
I could just like sit here and listen to you talk forever. I don't talk at all.
How boring.
But you mentioned something very interesting.
Hi, I hate to interrupt, and I hope you're enjoying this conversation, but we had something really exciting to share with you. We have recently started a new company called Odyssey House Media.
It's essentially a production company to help people tell their stories in a way that actually highlights their story so that people can actually believe in what they're doing.
So after traveling around Sri Lanka and coming back to the States, we noticed that there's a lot of incredible people doing some really great, meaningful work, but they don't quite always know how to tell their story or have the confidence in doing so. So after working with some other organizations and partnering with them to share their stories, we realized we need to help people share their stories.
The Odyssey House Media has been the one that's been sponsoring this podcast, us blood, sweat, and tears.
So if you've ever wondered, you have a story and you're not sure how to share it, we'd love to talk to you, have a conversation. You can check out more about us and our work that we've done in the past in the link below. All right, let's get back to that conversation.
Yeah. All right. So you did say that dance pulled you away from the streets.
Yeah.
Right? However, you did grow up creating.
Yes.
So this is a story that I haven't really heard. Usually it's like somebody growing up with either really good childhood with a lot of creative support to be creative, or you have the kid went through none of that, right? Just survival mentality, go through all of that.
Yes.
So tell me about yours. How?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up moving all over America, continental U.S., everywhere from outside of Philly to Southern Cali, which was my favorite, down by Laguna Beach in Mission Viejo. That was awesome. And typical American dysfunctional family. I found out later in my later years, in my 20s, that my dad was not my biological father, which made a lot of sense considering his and my, later, 20 years later after that, I find out that who my biological father is, and that his dad wrote and arranged music with the Gershwins. Music is really strong in my veins, right? And I was like, oh, so I've inherited this stuff.
Gershwins, are they the classical musicians?
Yeah. Classical and jazz. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Gershwins, yeah. So,
oh my gosh.
So that was a weird thing to kind of take in. And I'm like, because in my 20s, in my journals, it was like in therapy and everything. I was always like, why, when I go to modern art exhibitions, do I just get it? What is that? Like, most people don't understand it at an intuitive level.
Yeah.
And I started recognizing my intuitive level for movement, my intuitive level for art and music is a little higher than your average pedestrian. And instead of seeing that as a liability, I started realizing that whole like thing you hear about being fearfully and wonderfully made. And I realized like I am wired for this stuff. Like my mom's side of the family. So I've never met my biological father. I just found out who he was. Spoke to him on the phone, and got stories. But my mother's side of the family is full of musical savants. People who could listen to music, sit down, my Nana, my grandmother, sit down at the piano and play like Liberace, couldn't read a note of music.
Wow.
So so I kind of grew up in that, right? And my grandfather.
This is your Nana, right?
This is my Nana.
Okay.
So my papa was in the Air Force, World War II, D-Day, the whole thing.
Okay.
But they were swing dancers on the weekends
Whoa.
with big bands and stuff. So
That's
and he was a
do.
gymnast. So I was a gymnast when I was young. So so I just, that physicality thing and the music thing and the dancing thing was always there. But not until I was exposed to, I went to college, and college afforded me the opportunity to see things I never saw before. And when I saw modern dance, I was like, I have to, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. So I just pounded the bricks, and here I am making dances now, making dancers who do dances, and we tour.
Wow.
Yeah. So for me, it was like creativity was, I just knew I can't not do this creativity. Yeah. As I got older, I started figuring out why, and that I inherited a lot from the family line. And most people who you find are really, really creative, if they do their homework, asset map your family line, and you'll find it.
Explain to me what that means.
So that's a kind of urban planning terminology, really.
Oh,
but
okay.
But it's like you go into you go in a neighborhood, everybody's like, "Oh, it's a bad neighborhood." I mean, it's so encoded that
yeah.
Go into the neighborhood. What are the assets in that neighborhood? That bodega is like dope on the corner, and these and that little restaurant. Those people can cook. So you walk through an area and you realize the assets that are here, and you map those. So I decided when I was in my 20s, I need to asset map my upbringing, because it's not a surprise to me now that I run a dance company that tours all over the country. I lived all over the country.
Right.
So I was kind of like set up for what I do, but I didn't recognize it for the longest time. So if you kind of look back at like your family, and you'll find it. Yeah. That thing that you can't not do.
It's almost like this is an interesting concept. I've been doing this with my life, like experiences, to understand like why I'm the way I am, and what how my brain works. Because because if you look at it, my life now shows that I'm a creative. But if you ask me, depending on the day, I might tell you one or the other. But because of like this dedication to creativity and highlighting people and thinking about it so excessively trying to process it, I understand,
this other part of yourself.
Yeah.
It's probably not a small part.
It's a huge part.
Yeah. I mean, I have two dancers in my company who are engineers. One's an aeronautical engineer, and the other one's getting his doctorate right now in plastics engineering.
Yeah.
So, artists, we're not dumb people.
No.
and then when you kind of like work on both sides,
Yeah.
left hemisphere and right hemisphere, they inform each other. They inform each other, and it's weird because the more like the business stuff I learned, and the more because I thought business was my anti-gifting.
Same.
When I was younger, and I was like this starving artist. But then I started realizing that I actually have an aptitude for it. I mean, the company's 25 years old, so
Yep, you
clearly I'm not an idiot. And I'm surrounded by really good people.
Yeah.
And that's part of it. If you're kind and you see what you've been given as something that you're supposed to share with others,
Yeah.
serve other people, serve people.
Mm.
These theaters that commission me, they desperately need something of quality to put their children in front of. And that's their job, is to bust these kids into the theater.
Right.
And they've realized that we have a responsibility of what is the content and the quality of what that is that we're showing.
Mm.
And if I could be honest, the high quality and content stuff is down south, down in Australia. It's in Scotland. It's in
As far as
UK.
dance
It's
is concerned?
dance, theater,
And theater.
and dance and theater.
Okay.
And it's everywhere else, because in America we like our shiny packages and we like our sugar stuff. And but it's like it's about consuming rather than thinking for yourself and learning how to think critically and learning how to see other people with empathy and all of those things that the arts give us all the time, right?
Right.
So kind of paying attention to the landscape and like I've been given all of this stuff so that I can give it to somebody. I'm not going to keep it for myself.
Right.
You store grain too long in a thing, it's going to rot
Exactly.
and bring on the rats.
Right.
You're supposed to give that forward. You pay it forward.
So even though I'm a creative, dance, interpretive dancing especially, like I discovered it like much later in my life. And I think I had a moment where like, I get it.
Yeah.
How can one like, okay, I mean, I'm trying to get into your world and understand how you think and your creativity. So
good luck with that.
Yeah. But how do you like use dance as a way to express? Like, how does that, from what you're feeling inside to then outward expression, how does that work?
Well, a lot of that has to do with like just good old fashioned learn your technique.
Okay.
Learn your history, learn your technique. I know a lot of well-meaning young people who are like rebelling from the people that they worked for when they were younger. And I'm like, how about you honor those folks and stand on their shoulders and push the art form forward?
Yeah.
I think that's part of it. Like really, like when I was young, and because I'm a dude and I started at 18 and I was like dancing with girls who've been dancing since they were 2. And I was like, my butt is behind. I need to bone up on my skills, right?
Yeah.
But that became a thing, and I realized that I have the natural capacity to learn that stuff far quicker than my peers, a lot of my peers. And then you go to the next place, and you get surrounded by people like you, right? And then you're like, okay, all right. So for me, it was absolutely technique, theory, because then when you know the rules, you know how to bend them notes, make that run.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's huge.
And I think that like how you see your body as a tool for expression, and how can I move my body in such a way that they feel X, Y, or Z?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so now, like, because I used to paint all the time, so now the stage is a 3-dimensional canvas. So the paint are the dancers moving in the space. And now, like with this current project, it's, a lot of my stuff is very abstract, but like this is like, it's narrative driven, where I'm putting the book on the stage. And I figured out how to do that with the last book.
Wow.
And how do we move in, like there's this storm that brews in this current book, What Do You Do With the Problem? And what we showed people Friday night in our space that came here to the Pivot Center was, we have these big pieces of dark fabric and how we're winding them. And one person, now it's 2, now it's 3. And everybody understood that storm is getting bigger. Wow. And that child seems smaller and smaller and smaller because the storm is getting so big. So you just scale, proportion, color, all of that stuff is, you kind of, those are your tools, right? Yeah. You have to learn how to use your tools.
I'm a visual person. So the moment you said 3-dimensional, I saw the whole picture.
Yeah, right?
I saw it.
That's a 3-dimensional canvas.
It makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I also do woodworking. Like I made this thing, like, out of wood.
Dude, you made this.
Yeah. So I like sculpt and stuff out of wood. That was out of this need to inspire me to create, because this was at a time where I went through a divorce or whatever, and like I was around people who didn't understand me, right? So I'm
This is so good.
yeah. So I made this to like inspire me to create, and I want it to be, imperfect. I've dropped it a couple of times,
Yeah.
all of that stuff. But what I realized is like even this idea came when I sat down to just write.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, every time I sit down to create, I think like I'm wasting my time, because that's how I was brought up with, or what my society told me to.
Right.
So
Right.
now I'm on this journey to break that thing apart. So what do? I create something to break it for me.
Yeah. I can relate to that. I grew up with, my dad was a straight white businessman in a box, and Brooks Brothers suits and the whole thing. And I
Okay.
was like, look at me. That
Yeah.
ain't happening.
No.
Yeah.
And so as a choreographer then,
Mm-hmm.
you talked about abstract dancing
Yeah.
versus showing the real thing. Do you find only people who understand that stuff comes to your things?
I find that with a lot of abstract dance, yes. When I worked with all the kids in the 90s at Cleveland School of the Arts, I realized that as a choreographer, maybe I actually also have a responsibility to build my work in such a way that includes people and pulls them in. And there's an art and a craft to doing that. And you have to really which is why, like, when I found human-centered design thinking, I'm like, oh, this is perfect. Because on day one, the people that are going to be your audience at the end, they're in my studio Friday night giving us feedback. Their feedback helps shape the product, which a lot of artists hate that word product.
Yeah.
But I'm like, look, you're going to monetize your work. You want to pay your rent.
It is a product.
It's a product at the end of the day. Boy, you got to wrap your head around that and your heart around that. And if it's a product that's actually serving somebody, like another thing in my art, I won't put on stage what is. I put on stage, because that's only, I put on stage what could be, rather than what we're experiencing.
You want to show hope.
Yes, absolutely.
We're going on another tangent. So I've been fascinated by movies,
Yeah.
and this obsession over the 3-act story arc,
Mm-hmm.
and how there has to be tragedy,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I get it, right? Life is tragedy.
There's dynamic opposition.
Absolutely. And yet, for some reason, we are willing to go through that bit of, like, let's say 20 minutes of tragedy just for the payout of a happy ending at the end.
Yeah. But stuff don't always work out that way.
It doesn't.
Right.
And so I guess that's why I've been like thinking a lot about like indie movies and these stories where there are no happy endings. It's literally an account of what it was.
Yeah.
And like some actually do show a bit of hope in that realness. Like it's this like,
Because you get that sense of not yet.
yeah. And that's what life is.
Hello. Yeah.
Right.
The whole thing, we're always becoming something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're not arriving. You're becoming, you're like
Evolving.
growing, and you're
Yeah.
evolving, and you're changing, and you're responding, and you keep going. And that's what should be happening in our artwork.
It's interesting how like we accept people changing physically, outwardly as we all get older, but we don't expect people changing as they get older just because we don't see it.
Yeah.
And so let me bring it all back to creativity and especially like bringing people further.
Yeah.
Sounds like you have a huge responsibility.
I have days where it feels like a lot, but I have other days. So when you see that little kid's face light up and they have an aha moment, right? Because we do a lot of teaching to a lot of education programming where you unpack the process, you unpack the magic that's inside. And I think that like when people are allowed space and time, and you said it earlier, where you're not in survival mode.
Yeah.
And you can just be and grab something and start drawing or listening to music and let it be transportive, or it's so healing because it combats like I did a little brain science research because I'm that nerd.
I love it.
And I did kind of a dive on one of the things that I embedded in What Do You Do With an Idea, the stage production of the first book that we're definitely working on for the second book as well, is to give children the sense of awe and wonder. And the brain science behind that stuff is astonishing. And art and music and visual and emotion, that's how you get there. And I think that the more time we give our young people those opportunities to feel awe and to feel wonder, that's so healing and so healthy. I mean, I won't go into the science of it all, but I mean, it's just anybody can do. Just Google it.
Right.
Yeah, just Google it, man. It's incredible what it does for your body.
My wife used to be a kindergarten teacher.
Oh, you know then?
Yeah, I know a little bit.
Yeah. The awe and wonder thing it's huge.
Because that's oh my God, that connects because as an adult, we barely think about awe and wonder of life.
That's why it's so good to teach kids, because they'll give it back to you. Or have your own and relive life through their eyes. It's really, it's an amazing, and my son is 31 now, and go figure, he's an artist for a living.
Wow.
So is my wife, so that was inevitable. We were hoping Rebellion would look like Wall Street or something, but that's not how it worked out.
I don't think you hear like our children rebelling to become, I mean, maybe you do, but like I haven't heard.
Yeah, he went to college in Chicago, and he met his roommate. And he said to his roommate, "What is your major?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm going to be a modern dancer." And my son was like, "Oh, crap." The kid's like, "What is the matter with that?" He's like, "No, there's nothing wrong with you doing that. My dad runs a modern dance company." And this kid's response was, "Nobody's dad runs a modern dance company."
Yep.
And he was like, got on the internet, and he's like, "That's my dad. I grew up, Cirque du Soleil is how I grew up."
Wow.
You know? And it's kind of our joke too, because we've actually gone to Cirque du Soleil in several different cities together. And he's like, "That was my childhood."
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm like, "Yeah, but look at you. You're really good at art, dude."
Right.
Like, we set you up. Asset map your life.
Asset map your life.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
I didn't come up with that.
No, but you told me about it.
Yeah. It was when I heard it, I was like, "Dang!"
But like you learn it from city planning, you said.
Yeah, I was talking to some folks, and
that's
they were
brilliant.
Like, "We got to asset map this neighborhood." I'm like, "What does that mean?" And they told me, and I was like, "Dude, I need to asset map my life. I don't understand myself, you know." And that was years ago.
Okay, so you dance to express all of those things, but how do you use dance to process life? Like, walk me through.
That's
like
literally what I do.
Okay, so let me give you ask in a better way, because I know you know what you're saying. But for me, or like for another creative person, right? Like if I'm going through a stressful time, I have to sit down and write or draw or go and sand a piece of wood to get my head wrapped around on what's happening to me.
That's me with the dancers in the studio.
Okay.
That's literally what I do. So, okay, this idea of becoming, right?
Yeah.
So I have a solo called Becoming that I created.
Okay.
I was looking at the artwork of, there's an American sculptor named Frederick Hart. And a lot of his, oh my God, he's genius. But he would have like a human form, but on the edges, it's coming up out of the rock and up out of the clay, and then that's becoming human. And he has this whole thing, like if you actually don't just look at the pictures in the big book, like read it. What he was thinking about, what he was doing, and I was like, I'm gonna create a solo about that. So I took my dude Josh, who's now the assistant artistic director of the company, has been with me for 22 years in the company, and a couple other dudes. We made 3 solos, and I completely covered their bodies with this stretchy red fabric, because I was like, it's like the stuff of the blood in your life, like just real basic, fundamental, the shiny red, super stretchy fabric, and then and because of my sculpture background, playing with form, and if you look at this in America, like the history of sculpture in America, like people are returning back to figurative form now, right? But it has this twist to it. So I was like, I want to play with these ideas of returning artwork out of something super, super abstract and pulling the figurative like human body out of that as a metaphor for the fact that we are all seeing glimpses. When you meet people, like we're meeting each other today for the first time this afternoon, and we're getting to know just a little facet of each other, right? But it's just a tiny bit, right?
Yeah.
And then, so it's like from abstract to something really specific. And then this whole solo does that throughout. And I put that on stage, and the response to that solo has been incredible because people like, they get it. They're like, holy crap, that's, when he holds still, all of a sudden you're like, where did he go? That's this weird, like amorphic 1970s red blob kind of sculpture. But all of a sudden there's this guy yelling, and you know what I mean? And but it's so looking at the art form for the ways that you can express something, you see movement, an image as metaphor, and you kind of run with it. I mean, I am. It's working.
So I understand what inspired you to create that work of art. Why share it? What's the goal?
Because everybody sitting in the audience is becoming. And I don't think oftentimes we take that in.
Is that selfish of you? Is that controlling of you? Just asking.
No, it could be if I was self-indulgent.
Okay.
I can't stand self-indulgent work.
For sure.
Please, thanks. You can put that in your diary. You know, sorry. I'm older, I can say stuff.
You can. It's a podcast.
But also, it's like, you know, I'm having this idea, right? So you talk to your friends, you're having a beer or whatever, you know, you're going around, you talk to your friends, you kind of throw that idea on the table and you watch them kind of chew on it for a second. They're like, yeah, I'm realizing in my life with my kids and it's pushing me in these ways. And I'm like, everybody I know is lightweight aware that they're becoming something. But if you put a metaphor in front of them, they are given permission to actually go there and spend that time. Kind of like you give your kids or who were like your students permission to like express something in a medium that's comfortable for them.
Nobody has ever explained to me that the way you just did.
Really?
It makes so much sense.
Yeah, you want to
because I mean, understand.
Yeah, you want to share like, hey man, we're all having this experience. Let me show you something. And then talk about it afterwards. We have this thing in the theater. We take a big roll of paper, lots of markers, and some of them smell good. And we always invite people we call it Tag Our Wave. So we create this because it's part of our logo, right? This wave. So people write their feelings and their thoughts. Some people leave these incredible drawings in response to what they just saw in the theater. Now that's when we do a curated evening of like abstract work, right? Which is very different than like this children's book that I'm putting on the stage. You know? But we do pre and post activities for the kids to start expressing. So now I'm working on stuff this afternoon in between rehearsal chunks where I'm working on the study guide for the teachers about how to get the kids to open about, well, what are the problems? Let's make a piece of, let's have an art activity or a sound activity or a movement activity. Mimic some of those things on the stage and name a problem that you want to address.
Wow.
You know? Yeah. That was the art activity we had people do Friday night.
Wow.
Yeah. And so you personalizing what the topic is.
So it's not even control, it's more like out of care.
Absolutely, it's out of care.
Because like if you have a friend who's going through something or you wanted to share with that friend, you do out of care.
Yeah. That's actually oftentimes why I start creating a piece. Because I see something going on and I'm like, oh man, I don't want them to, you know? Or you're like passionate about like, yes, let me reinforce that by creating something like that. You know? And it could be something as abstract as snowflakes and how cool they are. And like there's this world famous photographer whose name I'm not gonna be able to remember right now. There's all these books out about how he figured out how to keep it frozen and zoom in and take photos of it, and the colors and the shapes. So I choreographed a piece called Snow. You know what I mean? Because I was so inspired by these images. And I'm like, this stuff is so gorgeous. And you know, everybody's like, oh, it's snowing outside. And I'm like, how can we flip that narrative? So
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, it's gorgeous, actually, if you really look at it. But you got to really look at it.
Yeah.
You got to really listen to it. You got to look for the metaphors inside of it. Everything's based on 3 and 6. There's like, that's deep. You know what I mean? So I just, there's
every
so
time
much.
I see snow, I remember that I migrated to this country. that it reminds me of my parents, the sacrifice and everything. It's all like very emotional, but like I love it. I love snow. My favorite thing in the world.
Dude, I have dancers in my studio during the day, move to Cleveland to study and work with me, right?
Wow.
Every once in a while, you get a new dancer who's never seen snow before. I had one 2 years ago. She was in the studio because it's all glass. And it was snowing like crazy outside. I was like, oh, this is so cool. I look over her, she's crying. She was scared. She's like, what do I do? And I'm like, just enjoy the beauty. You're inside, girl. I got the heat cranking up. We're good. But now she's like, I've learned to drive and I've learned to really like it. So it's like, and I don't know. I just thought every American kid's like had snow in their life, but that's not true.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
She's from down south, man.
Yeah, I've lived in like Boston, Chicago, Colorado, all of these places. And Erie, PA.
Yeah, but a lot of times, like the things that we are negative, like listen to it, really learn from it. Study it a little bit. Resistance is always a sign that more information is needed. Right? So be an adult. Do the research. Yeah. Get more information about the thing that you're feeling a little bit like, I don't know about that. You know what I mean? Like, well, that's right. You don't know about that. Maybe that's what you need to do then.
Let's take some time to think about it.
And people need to do that with each other. Way more. So all of this stuff is metaphor for like how we relate on the horizontal with each other. Right? Yeah.
I look at another way of looking at creativity and why people create. If you really understand, it's like this superpower to understand people.
Bro.
Yes. Because you understand yourself.
Yes.
Like, because pride goes away when you understand yourself.
Oh, it blocks everything.
It blocks that. Ego and pride is gone out of the window.
Yeah. Ego is the worst.
The worst.
I'm very clear about that in the studio when they come in the audition. Well, I dance for so-and-so. I'm like, they ain't here right now.
Right.
I don't give a rip. Like,
congratulations, you work for them, but you're here now. You're gonna learn this.
You're here for a reason that you're not there. So let's unpack that, shall we? I'm just saying, like, you came in here for some reason. And but ego it blocks flow, it blocks communication, it blocks the love for each other.
Yeah. Bill, so I this podcast was started out of me going through something crazy in life, really tough. Then going into woodworking during COVID time because I had nothing else to do. Built an entire basement workshop.
Oh, cool.
I was going through some worst time. So a week I would be completely miserable, depressed.
Yeah.
But one day I wake up, have the energy, and I would build an entire workbench and like get all the table saw in there and everything in there.
And how did that feel in that
the
moment?
Best.
See?
And I recorded it. I recorded it during that time.
That was smart.
Because I knew like this was the direction I'm supposed to go.
Okay.
But I had suffered so long around people who didn't let me. But something in it, just record it. Just record it. Just please, for the love of God, remember it so that you can always show somebody that this is what you did when you were in the lowest point of your life. And I was very obvious about like, there were a week of downtime where I couldn't do anything. I was in bed, depressed. Mm-hmm. And then there one day. And so the reason I talk about creativity is this is the one thing all human beings can connect.
Yes.
Without any division.
Yes.
Because religion is great. I believe in God and everything. But the moment I bring that up, it becomes divisive. So divisive. And so this is the one place we can connect. Because we can all create. Mm-hmm. And if you create, we're going to be actually connected to ourselves and really have no ego, free.
Exactly.
And real connection can happen.
Exactly.
Like, did you think that today you'll be hanging out with a Sri Lankan guy and have really amazing conversation and on a podcast?
No, but I'm so grateful.
It's because like we can talk. You have so much expertise and accolade, but I don't see an ounce of ego out of you.
No, I don't think so. It's my responsibilities at this point. I got stuff to do.
Let me tell you this. If I had known that if I was going to record you today, I will guarantee you to have so much like imposter syndrome. What am I doing trying to introduce this amazing person?
No.
But because of your like...
No way, man. Just doing stuff. Just making stuff.
Yeah.
And I love the people that I make stuff with. And everything that we create in my company is collaborative. Like I'm at the helm.
I was going to ask you about that.
It's collaborative. I pull everything up out of their bodies. I mean, because they're all smart, they're all talented, they all have creativity. And I'm like, let's align all of our assets and
Wow.
give something amazing to the audience. Bring them to their feet. Bring them to their feet. And you've landed, you've created your show right when we started the other book, right? Our first stop on the national tour was down in Greenville, South Carolina, at the Peace Center, Peace Center. And 1,000 kids came in, right? And the lead character starts in the back of the theater with the kids because he's one of the kids, right?
Okay.
He's the child in the book. And he and I are sitting back there, and bro, I was so nervous. I was like, what if this sucks? What if we've worked all this?
Wow.
As soon as the show's over, 1,000 little kids stood up, and the teachers were like, and then they stood up. That was a lot to take in. I was like, holy crap, I think we hit this. But we had worked with I'm not exaggerating, hundreds of the same age, asking them questions about the book, doing dance stuff with them. How would you interpret that? So human-centered design thinking. Who's going to look at it at the end? Get them involved in the process. The buy-in is much greater. And oh no, dance literacy just went up.
Wow, yeah.
Dance audiences, dance donors, dance board members, dancers, young dancers are in that audience, right? And so the CEO of the Performing Arts Center came up to me and she said, "Who are you?" I'm like, "I'm just a guy named Bill." And I'm like, "Think this worked?"
Yeah.
And she said, "I've been doing this for decades. I've never seen the kids at a children's show jump to their feet like that before."
Wow.
"Who are you?" And I was like, I'm like this dude named Bill. I work in Cleveland, and we make stuff for kids and adults,
Right.
And so it's like if you get yourself out of the way, right? And you pull because I'm asset mapping my dancers all of the time, dude.
Wow.
And I'm pulling up the strap. I'm like, you're actually, come here, do this, lift. You little, 4 foot nothing female, lift this big dude over your head. That's impressive. We'll put that on the stage. We do that stuff we climb on each other for a living. And but when you pull the creativity and the ideation out of everybody, and then it's not about is it a good idea or bad idea? It's like, is this idea that we're working on, is it stage worthy? It's going to move somebody who's sitting there. Then we'll use it in the show. If something happens improvisationally, which we use all the time, and all the other dancers in the room are like, whoa! I'm like, the kids are going to do the same thing. We put it on film, teach it to these other two people so everybody can do that thing. And that's how you build the work that has impact on people. But you got to have their input. And to what we've talked about earlier is like, in order to do that, you got to really listen to people. Where are they? Listen to them. Learn about them. Where do they come from?
You have to build trust for them to listen to you. Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this is like real hands-on, like
life.
Life.
It's life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're helping them be vulnerable and also asset mapping their lives to find the goodness in there, like all of those things. So you really are furthering people.
Well, and we're all created. We were given stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like if everybody could just calm down, inventory what you've been given.
Yeah.
And kind of realize like, wow, I've been given this stuff so that I can serve somebody else with it.
Well, let me ask you this then. If you weren't creating all your life, do you think that you would have been able to figure out these things that you have figured out? Honest answer.
I think because coming up was rough. And the only peace I ever had as a child was when I was by myself drawing and painting and doing stuff. The hardship, if I'm honest, was like a steering mechanism. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because I get a lot of like, you're going to be a businessman when you grow up, and I'm like, look at me, like it's so not happening. I got paint all over me. You know what I mean? But being honest about what you have been given. And people say stuff because when we get older, you realize they had your best intentions at heart, but they weren't paying attention to who you really are.
Yeah.
And honoring that. So I'm like, if we can do that in the studio, we can do that in the theater, we can do that in classrooms, we're doing good. Right?
Wow.
Yeah.
one last question.
Sure.
So people who feel stuck,
Yeah.
people who feel like literally no way out.
Yeah.
What is your wisdom?
Grab a pencil and some paper. Start writing what you're feeling. Start drawing about what you're feeling. Listen to music, the content of the music, or even the sounds, of the string section connects. And sit in those moments. Find a book, a really good book, and sit in that moment. Go to it, like you were talking about movies earlier. Like find an inspiring movie. Go to the freaking art museum in
Nature.
Cleveland. It's free.
Yeah, nature.
You know what
too, right?
Nature, bro. Yeah, I live out over the river and through the woods.
Wow.
I'm out there.
It's
and
huge.
It's so the river, and I've got so many pieces based on water and the river. And
Wow.
yeah. Because of what it means to me, right? And then and you show that to other people, and they're like, "Oh man, I love rivers too." And it's conversation starting stuff, and then you hear people's stories, and then they open up, and there's the thing. So when people I've had some tremendously dark moments in my life that I am now alive to talk about it, and it was through creativity and through listening to what's going on in here, and listening to the wiring that I've been wired with.
Yeah.
And just believing that I was given that for a reason, and get curious. Get curious.
Get curious.
Get curious, bro.
On that note, one of the most pleasurable conversations.
This is
I've
fun.
had.
You're so cool.
Let me finish the podcast. But we have viewers all over the world, and so all I'm trying to do is inspire you to create. I bring you stories like these amazing Mr. Bill. So all I ask you to do is keep dreaming, keep creating, and keep going on your own creative odyssey. Till next time, see you later.
Nice.
All right.
I was going to ask you earlier if you were from Sri Lanka.
How?
I worked with a choreographer from Sri Lanka.
Do you know the name?
Kapila Palehawadna.
No.
He came here for 3 months, and we hosted him.
Wow.
And we